Hi, I'm Kevin Hill, and today we're going to do a beautiful large mountain scene with a lot of sunlight in the foreground. It should be a lot of fun. And if you're enjoying these and you're looking forward to seeing this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more painting videos. All right, let's get started. We'll start off today here with our blue, white, and I did put just a touch of black in there just to take some of the shininess out of the blue. And I'm going to drift that along the top. Of course, I've already put some clear gel and white up here. And I actually kind of broke my own rule and I put a little clear gel and white down in what's going to be water because that water is very soft today. And I thought it might be interesting just to try it. Hopefully we don't make mud. If we do, we'll know why, right? Well, there we go. That looks halfway decent right there. And tell you what, while we're going just with this larger brush, I might even just grab some red and toss in there, maybe a little more black. Just for fun. And what we're going to try to add a little brown. I don't usually do that. I used to do that more often. I don't really do it anymore. Put a little brown in there just for fun. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and just with this larger brush sort of drop in some shadow base tone for some big clouds. Kind of those large mountain clouds, and definitely want some right up here. All of that to be covered. Now I'm just finishing up here playing with some water. I don't know, I got distracted for a minute and decided to go play with getting some of this water in and just kept adding colors and colors. I'm loving it. And I've wiped it down once with a paper towel. I've just been literally for the last like 1 minute just sitting here playing around with color. Because I kind of have an idea of what I'm doing in my painting. I'm pre-planning my colors here. I know that there's going to be some trees and some grass. Actually some, not necessarily dead grass, but like some golden color grass. So let's kind of set up for that. But you see how you can play around and just set yourself up for a little bit of success. There's some black, green. Pull in from the bottom here. Look at this. And get yourself some evergreen trees already reflected down into our beautiful water. Oh, I like that. I don't know, just something out of order today. I usually do the water kind of toward the end, but I just thought it'd be fun. Can't do the same old thing every time. You go crazy. So it's kind of fun to change it up. There, just water floating in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, I can live with that for now. Cool. You can already see where the land is going. I like that. All right, set that brush down before I overwork it. Let me find a filbert brush. I've got some white with a little tinge of red in it. I want to just, our light's coming across like this. I want to just layer on a little bit to these clouds. I may or may not blend the clouds at all. It doesn't really matter. We can just blend them here with the filbert brush or hit them with a blender brush for 2 seconds. But I'm going to try to create just that feeling of softness in the clouds and be done with it. You know, we don't need to go crazy with the clouds today. They're not super important and just not a big deal. Our mountains are going to be more impressive than the clouds today. Now very quickly, I'm going to go ahead and just drop in a basic sketch. I'm going to do it quickly so I don't end up with, hopefully don't end up with any symmetrical lines, which would not be fun. There, it looks decent. Now over here, just continue up. These mountains take up a lot of the canvas today, don't they? That's pretty cool. All right. I like that. See how they kind of wander across the top here? None are terribly tall compared to, you know, the one next to it. They're all pretty well similar in shape. Maybe we'll go down here a little and then go back up and then drag it right off like that. That's cool. This one here is a little lumpy. So you see how you sketch it, you play around with it? That is definitely an advantage of doing it here with the brush before you start putting a lot of paint on the canvas. Because any of this could easily be blended into the background. And you could just, you know, make it a shadow or something. Up here, I've got my little mountain. You'll notice that my mountains always come in. They never go away. What I mean is, see how the line goes like this instead of like this? It goes in like, really like that. See the difference? It's important. That's something I like to do. So now we'll use our sketch to establish our shadows in the right spot because we know where the mountain peaks are. We don't want to go overboard and paint the whole thing in solid. It makes it a lot harder to deal with it. Cool. Now we can, you know, make that, you know, transition into a cloud or fog or something up there. Not everywhere you paint in has to be solid, so we'll definitely want to do that. But I just I'm right now focusing on, wow, that color isn't quite right for the background. You see, you want a little more blue in the background. A little more blue, that's good. Then a little warmer as you come forward. And so we transition to kind of a purpley gray, which will look really good on those mountains, I think. Nice. Anywhere you leave open can be snow. So that's cool. See, just slowly bringing these in. This is mostly shadow, as you'll notice. All right, we got to figure out what's going on here. I guess that's that. There. Cool. Maybe a little darker. Actually would be really cool. A little darker. Black, brown. Right there. Oh, that's nice. And then transition that up. Yes. Very cool. Now, I like that green tinge that happened here. We are going to want to do that green over here as well in this area, but let's make it lighter. A little sap green even. Okay. Let's see what that does. A nice green. Kind of muddy today, but that's okay. We want soft colors in the background. I see, just blocking in these large shapes. It's all that this is really requiring is just big shape blocking in. It'll be fun to see it though come together when we come back and pull the details straight out of this. Hopefully it'll turn out okay. We probably should, and by probably I mean we're gonna definitely wipe this whole area off with a paper towel because I still don't have my shop towels. Real quick, I'm wiping my brush out, but you'll just see how it's free and loose. I want to just get some rock action going right here on the shadows. Nice and dark, actually really dark, to show the different planes in the mountain. This one's closer. It gets to be a little darker. Now I've already wiped off a lot of the paint from the mountains. I still left some thick areas at the top so they'd be sharp. Right over here though, this spot, I want to see a cloud kind of float around. So I got myself a paper towel and I'm gonna set my paper towel right there and I'm gonna pull it that way, not that way. Cool. All right, we're done. Well, maybe we'll blend it just a little. But just see how we can that easily bring it right into the clouds. Now I've got a glare, so I have no idea if that looks good. So let me stand over here. Oh, it does look good. I like that. I kind of like that little whooshy bit. Maybe we'll leave it. Maybe we'll end up covering it, but that's cool. That looks pretty nice. All right, now that you've seen how to do that, we need to get back here with a smaller brush, detail round brush. And I'm out of white paint, but I'll take what little white I have. I'm gonna start forming some of the highlights. I was gonna do the snow, but I guess I better wait and stop and get some more paint. So I'll do some of the highlights instead. We'll go right over here and do some highlights. Nice. Well, I like that. This detail round brush is just soft enough to layer over all that wet paint. A little bit of rock action right here at the top. Most of this one will be snow. There. It's important though, as you do this, that you get these sharp lines. You don't want a bunch of not so sharp lines. You know, it's easy to come over and kind of round everything off, but the more jagged it is, actually, the better you're gonna like it. So definitely watch that. Nice. If you're not standing back to your 6 foot or so viewing distance, you're gonna really kind of fight this process. You gotta stand back, make sure you like it, and come back up and add a little to it. All right. That's probably about all that we're gonna do. We'll do a lot of snow, definitely. These are fairly bright areas, and then we'll have a lot of nice dark areas to contrast against those light areas. It'll make for an interesting little painting. Now over here, we want just a few rocks that are gonna be sticking out of whatever this, you know, like the trees and stuff here. We'll put some snow here also, but at least get some. Now that's kind of what I wanted to avoid, was actually that right there, which is the only thing I don't like about painting mountains with my detail brush is sometimes you get these like, it just looks too liney. We want less lines. So we'll try to connect a lot of that together. That is exactly what I was trying to say a minute ago. There we go. That looks pretty cool. It's just a nice little bit. A lot of those will be covered up, so I'm not too concerned. Now I'm going to go ahead and add some shadow snow. You see, I already did that right over there. It looks nice. I like that we did that. It creates a lot of extra detail. So there you go. I kind of left a lot of it blank where I thought I wanted my snow. What is that? That's a big dark spot. Okay, where I thought I wanted my snow. And that was pretty much around those areas that I put the blue. So let me quickly just kind of melt. There we go. That shows a little snow even in the mist. I want that one a little mistier because I've got my trees coming up over top of this. So honestly, if all we did was took our little 2-inch brush here and put some mist in, I think that's probably time well spent right there. Done. Make it easy, right? Spend our time in the spots where it's going to count. Less and less snow as we come down in elevation here, for sure. See down here by the trees, we want a little less. A little blue, even just shadow here and there is cool. And now over here, however, I do want a decent chunk of snow. Yes, all up in this little area. All right, now that's just the blue snow. We'll be back here in a second to put a little bit of white snow. You can see I already started that right there though. Now I'm gonna do just a little bit of work, not a lot, with the detail round brush and some white. You'll see I've squirted out some white. I've also got rid of my clear gel. I just scooped it away, threw it out, because you don't really want to leave that on the palette. It'll accidentally work its way into the painting and you'll get some mud. You only want that in the beginning. That's my tip. In fact, when we're in classes, I make everybody throw it away so we don't have that. Plus, I know the temptation is there to thin your paint down, but try not to, because once you thin your paint down, you know, you're pretty much locked in. You don't really get to play around with it a whole lot. You pretty much put it down and that's it. So that's why I like to wipe the canvas instead, for instance. There's other ways to get around it. All right, that's looking halfway decent. I don't want a lot of this, just enough to give us an excuse to put some beautiful shiny highlights on our trees that are coming. There, so not a whole lot. And of course, if at any time here you're feeling a little out of control, just wipe the canvas, that'll fix it. Nice, I'm liking it though, I really am. This is not necessarily a super detailed mountain, but you'll notice it's looking convincing because of the values that we chose to use. So you don't always have to, spend 8 hours detailing out a mountain to get it to look just beautiful, which is kind of cool. Now I'm just working on some trees, these tiny, tiny trees in the background. And there's no good shortcut to this. There are shortcuts, but they're not great. They sort of work and they're fine if you need to use them or you just really want to get done with this part of the painting. They're fine. Personally, I don't like them too much because I think that they give a very, an identifiable effect, if you know what I mean. Like, I could look at it and say, yep, I know exactly how you did it. And the obvious one is the fan brush. It's great for grass, but your trees will end up kind of looking like grass. So I usually try to stay away from that as much as possible and just go ahead and get in here with my little brush and sacrifice 10 minutes to do it the slow way. If you've got the time, I would recommend it. But hey, that's just me. You can kind of do whatever you want. That looks cool. All right, see this? I just kind of have muddy colors. I'm almost just sliding across all my muddy colors. That's gonna drive somebody nuts. It just doesn't really matter. I'm looking for a dark color, and I'm looking for a lot of color variation. Cool. Not too large with my effects. It'll detract from that mountain looking far away. Also don't want them too dark, but a couple of dark ones won't hurt, so it's really just a matter of playing around with them. Now I'm gonna go ahead and work on some trees here, some larger trees. I'm using a filbert brush just to smash them in. I went ahead and just did a little bit of mist. Really just took the 2-inch brush and kind of did this. It's super easy, took 2 seconds. Now that gives us a good backdrop to put our trees against. I'm gonna just stick them in pretty quick and then we'll bring little details out of this. should look pretty good. We've got our little water going on here. Maybe just do a quickie 2-second block in of some of the grass and stuff right here. At least go ahead and get this established. Of course, we're going to have rocks. The plan is to have rocks. Hopefully they happen. I don't forget. There. That looks cool. Actually, let's bring this one out. So we have a little spot where, right here, a little spot where that water goes down and back behind. So we can easily do that just by brushing like this. Cool. See how easy it is just to play around with the different shapes? Boy, you're not locked in. It's nice not to be locked in, so we can kind of be crazy, and it doesn't matter. Lots of these golds here in the foreground. Lots of gold. I like that. That's cool. A little bit right here. I guess we could have sketched this out ahead of time, but we seem to be doing halfway decent without that today. So there you go. Cool. That's about it for as far as land is concerned. Not a lot. We'll just raise some of these trees right out. Won't go too tall yet because the tall ones are going right over there. Actually, we may need to go a little taller, but we'll see. Go up slowly. You can always make them taller. Nice. Now, as far as doing these trees, I want to get them in reasonably quick, I think. Kind of mushy. And then what we can do is come in with the little detail brush, and then what you do, you just detail the little edges. Imagine that, detailing the edges with the detail round brush. Yeah. See that? Just to get this beautiful look, but it takes a little longer if you do the whole tree with the round brush. So set that down, and we'll continue with the filbert brush. Oh, look at the contrast. Now these are very close, and they're also very close to these trees, which are going to be tall. So it's good to have those sharp edges and little detail. I don't think we're going to have a whole lot of highlight on these, so I'm not as concerned about adding a little extra texture. A little extra won't hurt us, hopefully. Always have to add that in because, you know, things happen, don't they? Now I've changed to a fan brush, and this area is dry. There's no medium, there's nothing there. So what we're going to do is simply block in our large trees. These are going to be the closest, unless something changes, the closest foreground trees in the whole painting. And the reason I'm using the fan brush is because it gives me a lot of, look at that end of that brush as you do this, it gives me a lot of good texture automatically. And then I can go in with a different brush, either the filbert brush or the detail round, to bring out some more of that texture. All right, so now way over, I hate to say it, but way over here, I really like this spot, but maybe we can see some of that through these trees. I don't have to do it as much as I was originally planning. But somewhere up right in, oh, there you go. That's kind of pretty. There. I've got to do this little tree right there. So it's just the start of the tree. Then you come in, this is super easy. If you're interested in an easy way to make trees, this is it. Just literally crunching the brush. Anybody can do this. Easy stuff. All right, so anyway, we'll just raise up. And the reason I can get away with that is because I'm going to come back in detail. Raise up some of these to make this beautiful tree line and to start covering some of the blank area. That's the plan. Nice, but I like that. I like that mist. I'm gonna stand back. Yeah, that's cool. Good negative space. Wasn't planning that. I was originally planning a whole tree line, but I like that spot, so I left it. Shows you. If you like something in your painting, don't cover it up just because, you know, that was the plan. All right, looking good. See how you can just come in and you quickly detail those things out. Just 5 seconds and you got a nice little detailed evergreen tree. Of course, lots of colors. You have to use lots and lots of colors. And we have all sorts of trees lessons that you can either buy as a DVD or download. And they'll give you a lot better explanation on doing trees that are actually a lot less sloppy than these, a lot more controlled. This is just me playing around, having fun. Now I'm working at highlighting just a few of these trees, well, really all of the trees, right? And I don't want to go too far down. See that? Just kind of let them peter out. Here's my color. It's just a kind of a mushy mix of yellow, white, green, and then whatever sneaks into it is perfectly fine. I spent the last few minutes just detailing out my trees. I did add a little blue shadow there. You'll see that. I like that. I think anytime you can add a blue shadow in your painting, it usually looks really good. I'm just using a detail round. You could use a filbert brush. You get a really good effect. This is a little more small, and these trees are small, so it works. If I was doing a bigger tree, I'd probably use the filbert brush to do a lot of the texture on it, a lot of the highlight. Of course, every once in a while, you hit your yellow ochre, and you can put kind of a dry limb or something on there. And then you decide which trees are in front and you pull those down. Now, to me, they're all kind of growing pretty level, so you don't want to bring too many down, but I will bring a few down just to add that extra bit of interest and layering in your painting. You gotta have that layering. You'll notice that I also went back to the underpainting. Well, I don't know if you noticed it or not, but I'm telling you, just what I did was I went right back here in the underpainting and I just darkened the bottom because I thought that made it look a little nicer. Hopefully you can see that. Hopefully it shows up. I just thought it'd be cool. All right. Now, if at any time this kind of gets muddy, what you can actually do is take a paper towel and just set it down on there, give it a few seconds, let it absorb the oil and pull it off. It won't mess your trees up, it won't mess anything up, and you'll be okay. But I'm actually doing pretty well right here, and I don't need them super bright except for on the top anyway, so kind of allowing them to get a little muddy as they go down the tree. Now we're getting to the really exciting part. Not like it all hasn't been kind of fun, but this is going to be kind of extra fun. I'm going to work here on my water areas, and oh, there we go. I'm going to make it nice and bright. Of course, the one thing that'll make your water not so bright is hitting that green, so I'm being extra careful. Of course, if you do, I say this almost too much, but get your paper towel out. That'll fix it. You should be able to rub it right off and get your bright color right back over it again. Yeah, in case you haven't noticed, I like wiping my oil paintings with paper towels. I tell you, it's like the #1 thing that will just make life easy. Then you don't have to worry about the mud, and of course the mud is really about the only complaint I ever get with oil paints. They're beautiful paints to work with. Of course, if you don't want mud ever, you could try acrylics. In fact, it's almost time for me to do an acrylic painting, isn't it? It's been a couple weeks, but I like those too. So anyway, I'm just very lightly, barely touching this canvas, trying to leave a little texture. It's an oil painting and people pay extra money for that texture, so we'll definitely put it in. Now, as you can see here, I'm working on the grass. I'm adding an accent highlight, just a little white, honestly, just pure white almost, not quite. Right on the end of the brush, and you just tap it right on. Super easy, straightforward, but boy, does it look good. You don't want to overdo this effect, obviously, just like anything, you don't want to overdo it. But it is pretty nice. We'll do some bushes here in a similar way, just what I did here before the accent highlight, which is the interesting part. But what I did before that was, I just threw some quick mid-tone. Actually, I think it was the same color that I had there in the evergreen trees. It was just laying around. So this, though, is actually looking really good. It's making that water feel a little brighter, feel a little more like it fits. Oh yeah, the sunlight, lots of sunlight. You know, it's like these mountains are kind of shading out part of the valley, but then a little bit of sunlight sneaks through. I just love it. Good effect. It really is a good effect. So kind of getting excited. You can use your brush both ways. You're not stuck using it just one way. You get a little texture. Maybe let's hold back as we go to the right here and kind of go with darker tones. Darker tones. Amazing when you're calling this right here a darker tone. There. And of course, we'll pull our liner brush grass out from this. I don't want just one dead color. Let's grab a little red or something. Maybe mix a little red with my green even. There. Throw some extra tones of color. There you go. Tones of color. Nice. And even maybe just... Okay, let's start on these bushes. I'm flying all over the place with this foreground. That's okay. Maybe start texturizing these bushes a little. Get a little yellow ochre straight in there. Maybe some red. Pretty. Lots of color. This is, you know, because there's not a lot of color, at least in the tree area. There is in the mountain, and there will be in the foreground. So it'll give you a nice contrast. It balances the painting. Not everything's crazy. I like that. Just tapping on layers. That's cool. We can work with this. And maybe as we go back, we'll kind of allow some of these to be a little softer, and you won't notice them quite as much. That'll really add that extra layer of detail in the painting by having those separations. See, these will be sharper, those will be fuzzier. In fact, I might just fuzzy this one a little bit by blending it into the background, just by touching it, tapping it one more time. There. When you're doing that out of control, it's called making mud. There. When you're doing it in control, I guess it's called blending, right? All right, these bushes and the grass area, it's looking pretty much finished. You see, I also went back and did a little work there. Looks decent. All right, now I'm gonna take some black on the filbert brush, at least what I think is black. I'm pretty much out of paint. All right, now I want several rocks down here. Maybe not quite that dark. That's a little dark. I'm gonna lighten it up somewhat. This is out burning in the sunlight. That's almost too dark, so let's try this. We can always darken it up. All right. I'm gonna place in, carefully, a rock or two. Actually, I want a lot of rocks over here because that helps to balance. There's a lot going on over here, nothing going on over here. We need to balance that out somewhat, just for the sake of the painting. That's what we're gonna do right now. Cool. So kind of a line of rocks, a string of rocks. You know, maybe there's land over here, and there's rocks kind of at the edge, and that's what we're seeing. That'll become more obvious as we do other rocks around the land over there. Cool. You could use the 3/4 brush. I might want to do that. It just depends on the effect. Let me just try it and see. Because I want a little bit more geometric shape. The filbert brush is great for rounded rocks, but I want a couple of sharper rocks. No symmetry though. There, that looks good. Perfect. See that? That's getting us a nice line of rocks going. Let me try over here, maybe a boulder or something to kind of connect the land to the water. There. And then just a few along the shoreline. I think that'll look really good. That's almost too dark. There. Oh yeah. That's nice. See how it's just making this painting feel a little more complete. Great, just a couple of tiny indications of what might feel like stones there in the background. Just a couple, not enough to worry about. Really just to give it that feeling. Oh yeah, there. Looking good. So, continue to do these rocks for a little while. The other thing we need to do is definitely make sure we pull reflections down underneath all of these rocks as you go. Now we're going to finish up our painting with just a little grass detail with the liner brush. Not a lot. You certainly don't need so much. Not in this painting. And I kind of like already the texture that we have with the fan brush, so I really don't want to take away from that fan brush texture. Just adding to it is all. Going very, very light, very sparing. Not a whole lot of paint. In fact, I don't know if you saw me go down. I was just wiping my brush so that there'd be less paint. So I'm just using a tiniest bit. And that gives me a thinner line. The more paint you have in the brush, the thicker the line is. Sometimes you get them so thin that you don't really see them. All right, you'll notice I love the way those rocks, just look at those rocks. I think they really framed the painting, and I was kind of excited about that because I was feeling it was a little blank over there. It was a little off balance. I also put, as you can see, a little more highlight down in the lower left area so that it helps to balance. I think the painting is actually pretty well balanced now compared to how it was, so that's good. So keep your eye out for stuff like that, you know? Make those changes to, make a better painting. So I'm actually very happy with it. Maybe just on this one, just a couple of dots. You can do these little liner brush dots. Adds that extra feeling of detail. I don't want too much, of course. Just a few. just like everything, it's all fun until you overdo it, and then it's no longer very fun. You got your paper towel out, kind of undoing your work, which is okay. I mean, painting is a kind of a experience of putting it in and taking it out a lot of the time. All right, well, I think we're done. I had a lot of fun. I hope you did too. Don't forget to check out our website, DVDs, and brush line. Thanks for watching.